Hey everyone, Stu here from ParchmentAI. Today I'm really excited to talk to you about test modules. Now, if you've watched the other tutorial videos, you know about report templates and you know about the sections that go into report templates. You know about freeform generations, the recommendations feature, and test modules are going to be a section of your report template. But we actually define the test module outside the templates. That way we can reuse them across multiple templates. So if you were to have a specific way to write up a WISC, a BASC, any of these test score reports, we create those now as test modules. Then when you create a template, you bring that module in. So if you have a number of templates where you're reusing the same test module, you can bring that across without having to write it out every single time. I also took the liberty while I was building this to make the UI a lot prettier and try to build in features that folks had given me just based on feedback. So you'll notice your test library here at the bottom of the screen, the bottom of the dashboard. And by default, I'm trying to add in just sort of starter templates for you, starter test modules, so that you can see how to work with them. And hopefully one day they'll be good enough that you can actually use them based on feedback. But for now, I'll click into one of these defaults, say the WISC, and you'll notice that it's broken down into components. We have boilerplate components, and down at the very bottom, I'll show you an example of generated components. Now, the difference between these is that a boilerplate component, this doesn't change. Basically, anytime you feed AI something, there's a pretty good chance that it's going to change. So behind the scenes, I've tackled splitting out what needs to change and what needs to be static or boilerplate so that you can rely on what you're setting up in these test modules. So you'll notice that everything here, this is going to be static, it's not going to change. But these little purple pills, these are fields that are going to get replaced. So if you have a very specific way that you like to summarize test score reports, you can set up, okay, don't change the sentence at all and just insert the right value. What I'm doing with the defaults is providing a formula, an example of how this works, both with text, where we're adding in these fields to sentences, and also with tables. So you can see this table will be generated from the test score report that we provide. So we can save you a lot of time on data entry in those ways. That's all boilerplate. The generated section, this works a little bit more like the freeform generation, where this entire block, maybe it is dynamic. Maybe you're trying to group certain terms together, or you're trying to do a strengths and weaknesses comparison. This entire block is dynamic and it's going to get regenerated. So it's not the same as up here where this is going to be the same every single time. This is going to change more significantly. And so I give you the option to kind of define how you like your test modules to be written. It can be very static, or you can add in these more flexible, dynamic generated components. If you look on the right here, you'll see the field names. So there's client information, evaluation information, subtest summary, and composite summary. And so what I've done is I've put all the fields in for the defaults that I've started with. And what you can do if you want to change this is you can actually create a custom copy. So you click this button in the top right. And what that does is it allows you to add components, change the components, and also modify them. Adding fields is really easy. You just click the field that you'd like to add, and you'll notice that it appears here. And if I save that and then save this custom, it doesn't really make sense, but as an example of having first name in there, you can go through and add them anywhere you like, and you can also add fields. So for example, in this set, maybe I'm missing the GAI. I could do the GAI index score. And I could save that, you can give it a description, and you can give it custom instructions, which is really cool. So if you wanted to specify a property that needs to be calculated, or maybe you want to do something like a symptoms list, where you want this to be text, and you want this to say, briefly summarize any symptoms via comma separated list. Now, if I save that, and I put that in here, that'll parse through any input and it'll generate that sentence for me. So it's very flexible in terms of how you can insert very specific data components and strings or text. I'll take these out just to have it clean. Then when we go over to the report generator, let's say I want to add it to my custom template, why not? I have a whisk here from before, I'll get rid of that. And if I click Add Section, you'll notice that we have Test Module here now. So if I click Test Module, there's going to be a drop down of all the tests that we already have. So if you want to use a default test, that's totally fine. We can set up a custom test, the one that we just created, and I'll hit check mark. From here, I'll go ahead and I'll add the data from just a sample report. And what this is going to do, right, is pulling in the PDF, it's analyzing the tables, get all our data in here. You can verify by scrolling through once that's uploaded. We have everything. And we need the name of our client. So I'll just put John Smith, put some pronouns in, and then hit generate. And what this is going to do is it knows all the placeholders, it knows all the data fields that it has to go get. It's going to search through the input for those values. It's going to do any calculation, any generated elements that it needs to create, and then it's going to stitch it all together for you here. So you'll notice it didn't mess with the introductory description. It inserted only the specific properties that we told it to grab. It also allows us to edit these. So if you want to change those values, you can do it right here. You could do it externally as well in another editor, but you can edit it here. You can kind of scroll down, see how it all looks. It inserted all the data into the tables. And then this generated section you can see is quite different from the one that we provided at the sample that we provided because it regenerated the whole thing based on the instructions that we gave it for that component. Up here now at the top, you have two choices. You can refine with AI. So this is that similar feature, the assisted editing from the freeform flow, where now it sends that output over and you can edit anything here, use the AI to perform instructions on it, or you can copy it straight to clipboard and it's going to apply your export settings. So your font family, your size, your coloring options, all those types of things. So with this, you can kind of see we took it from this template, we inserted very specific data, and that's going to follow a strict format. It's not going to deviate in kind of wonky ways that you might be used to AI doing and get you exactly what you need to save you the most time. So my plans here are to continue adding default tests, add features based on feedback. Let me know what you think as you experiment with it, as you explore. And if there's anything I can do to help, feel free to grab me. My virtual calendar is always open. Thanks.